Baruch haba b'shem Hashem. Question is, what Shem Hashem? So now we're working in the new name of God, which was the old name of God, which was Yud Hey, Yud Hey. And that name got blemished because of lack of humility and became Yud Hey Vav Hey. So now we're back in the way we're supposed to be because it got revealed. The Ben Ish Chai did a great job in Parshas Bo in order to teach us the new level with details that are really transforming for everybody and shows us how to fix our heart and our mind together and unify ourselves. But that's not for this moment right now. What's next right now is the understanding of what's next, as the Ramchal would say, what's really next. So when you're in alignment and living in a place like Svat, the Hashgacha Pratis already has hit here, meaning that because of the 45 who died and the pandemic and all these things, we're now on the other side of it. Here in Svat, the tourism is going to begin within 2 weeks. So I want to bring you like a forecast, so to speak, of Bo Yavo Berina, which has to do with the months of Tammuz and Av. And Bo Yavo Berina, it says that's what's going to bring the Gula. Meaning what? Bo Yavo Berina. Meaning Bo is what's bringing the redemption. How could the Parshas Bo, meaning the Beis Aleph, bring the redemption? Bring the Rina. So he says, V'chipuk Beis Aleph to Aleph Beis. By turning and reversing the letters of those two symbols which were in the program, in the algorithms of the machine of the Torah, which is creating the reality of the time, and it's dealing specifically with the sphere of Hod, which is what Rabbi Shimon worked on in Lag Ba'omer. Remember, Lag is that sphere, and Tammuz is the same sphere, together with the next month also in Av. Meaning, so Bo Yavo Berina, meaning we're turning it to Bo, to Av, which is the month, as it says, Evin Masu Aboni Maital Rosh Pinah, is that we're at the head of all the months is the Av, and that's where the Gula actually takes place, because the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed then, so naturally it's brought down that Mashiach is born during those 9-day period. What do you mean? Meaning that we have to now do something. So Hashem revealed to us what we need to do, and that's what I'm trying to articulate to everybody. What is it we need to do right now? Not as I'm talking as a particular, but I'm talking klali, because I've been holding on to this idea for many, many years, not knowing really why I had it, but now I understand exactly how that part of the Torah works in order to do the coding, in order to change the algorithm, in order to change the frames that we're all in as a collective whole, being in the descent out of our original state of consciousness. So it goes like this, very, very simple, everybody. And then, of course, my son and Esther, they'll elaborate and give you all the graphics and make it more. But I'm just trying to get it out in order that you guys really feel the energy and the life force that's attached to these ideas. So according to the way the Makot, the plagues went, it came out that this plague called the Arba is Hod. And that's the tikkun where one needs to make is in Hod. Specifically the concept of the idea of the firstborn, which represent the Malchut, and of course Pharaoh being the firstborn in the concept of what evil really is, and Esav being the firstborn in relationship to Yaakov and having to do with the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael, where Esav also is the word for Shalom and also the word for Shlomo. So it transforms and goes to those states of consciousness as the king, Shlomo, and also who brings peace to the world. We know Shlomo had peace. 40 years connected to the Malchus, so Great Britain, and the culture of Western society being Esav and Christianity and the Vatican and all that kind of energy which is holding on to the O's, that sphere of wealth and success went there, and the sphere of the Greeks got science, and Hodu Kush got in India, which is Hashem backwards, Adani backwards, that got, of course, the prophetic postures and incense, which we're all redeeming. We're getting all all those sparks back and integrating it back into Klal Yisrael. But somehow it's very much connected to the concept of the sphere of whole. Why? Because what would come next naturally is Hoshek, the darkness. And what do we do in the darkness? We took all the gold and the silver. So it must be that we got the kalim, the vessels, in order to take the money out from the plague that came before it, which is the Arba. So somehow, and it says very clearly, Bo, Yavo, Berina, meaning that the concept of switching the letters to Aleph Beis from Beis Aleph is the one that's actually creating Rina, which would be the Kalim, in order to take the Shefa out of Mitzrayim, right? And that would give us the back to the beginning of Malchus in the Machas Bechoros, because we already got the Kalim and took the Shefa out, so it's naturally the Bechor, which is Malchus, we go back to us. So here's the exercise. I don't want to call it an exercise, I don't want to call it anybody, it's a process on how it's done. I'm going to say very, very simply and quickly in order to get it out into the physical masses, but again, Esther and Levi will bring to you in detail on how to do it with colors and graphics and everything. But this is for all of us. It wasn't made just for me. It was made for me in order to teach you a little bit about coding and what the spirit on the inside of the Torah, which we didn't know how to do. We just read the Torah, but we didn't know how to go deep inside of it to find these codes. So Kadosh Baruch Hu, he wants it now, so here it is. So if you take the letters Beis Aleph and the next word is L, which means an equation 2, so it's Beis 2 to 1 in relationship to Pharaoh. Now, if you take Pharaoh and you break his name up, and the way it's done in the Chachmas of, I don't want to say Chachmas MS, the way we do things in that world, is the letter that represents the sphere of Malchut. Everyone knows it's Pei, Y, the mouth. So, if we know what it is in math, so we don't have to define it in the here and now, other than abstract it, and it's not utilized in the equation, it's used as a known. And the Hey is also Kedusha, so we have two ideas, two concepts that are known, so we hold on to them, Malchut and Kedusha. And the two letters in between everybody, Resh Ayin, evil. So now here's how you read the equation. When multiplicity of gods, meaning the relationship between 2 and 1, or the Beis and the Aleph, or if you make Pac-Man swallowing up the Aleph, and the Aleph, of course, everyone knows is 2 Yuds and a Vav, which is Yud Kei Vav Kei, 26. So therefore, Pac-Man is holding on to the possibility of a unified field of God in the physical world. So that is what Malchut, meaning the Pei, of the Kedusha, which is the Hey, is in the hands of the letters Resh Ayin, which is called evil. Very simple. God knows what he's doing. He's clear as a bell. Nobody's going to argue with that. The question is, and now, how he changes the system. I'm just going to give you a glimpse of one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life in the Torah. And here I'm giving it over to you, hopefully in a cream puff, and you'll get a little idea of it. So Hashem says, why am I doing this? I'm going to make Pharaoh's heart hard. I'm doing this to bring it to your future generations, But in the end, what are you going to know is that I am God, meaning Ani. You're going to know that I am Ani. Ani, Aleph, Nun, Yud, is without the Dalet in terms of Adani, but it's a kinoi for Adani. Meaning, what do you mean you're going to know? You're going to know me. You're going to know that I'm Malchus in the world. You're going to know that the Yud Kei Vav Kei is going to land into this world as Adani. So I'm going to manifest it, Hashem says. I'm going to bring that into the world in order that you could physically see me in the world and in the miraculous in the physical. So that's what he says to him. That's what's in the Chumash. So he says, how are you going to do it? If you don't let my people go, what am I going to do? I'm going to bring you to Arba. Meaning, I'm going to bring you the solution in order to bring Adani into the world. What is that? It's an equation. Because the Torah is just equations. Mamish, everywhere. So here, when you know how to read the equation, you could see how Hashem is actually coding and creating this digital reality that we live in. So therefore, now we take what? What are we taking? The equation of Arba. I'm bringing the Arba. Look at the letters of Arba. Aleph, Resh, Beis, Hey. Right? Very simple. Aleph, Resh, Beis, Hey. Now look, the Aleph and the Beis are in the reverse order of the Beis and the Aleph. Could you imagine that? And there's a Resh and a Hey in between, intertwined. So what do? We're seeing God speak to us and creating His coding, the way He thinks, the way He does it in His computer, right? We take the Aleph and the Beis and we put it underneath the Beis Aleph, right, as the equation. Those of you know equations. And we bring the Resh Hey onto the other side, underneath the Resh Ayin. The Pei and the Hey are knowns, right? That's the Malchut of the Kedusha. So all we do, in order to understand the new thing, right, is to subtract the Resh Hey from the Resh Ayin. And what do we get, everybody? We get 65, which is Adonai. All right? So you see how that is over there. That's not an accident. Chodesh Baruch Hu knew what He was doing. It just in some way, in some magical way, He wanted me to notice. And at this time, to bring it to you. So what I'm saying to you, the doing of that, right? The Torah Shabbal Peh, this is Torah Shabbal Peh. The doing of that little thing inside of your head, because you have to do something. You have to hold these letters inside your head and do this kind of thing. You're actually making, in the realistic, real world of coding, which is what the Torah is, you're reprogramming the Torah, which is what Hashem wants you to do. He gave you the ability to understand the Torah and give it a new program and create a Chiddush. That's what this life is about. He gave us the ability to be part of that and change the world to make it better. And by knowing the depth of these coding, it does it. It says it. It's in front of you. There's no denying it. You get it from the Ben Ish Chai, from the Re, whatever you want to say. This is how to learn the Torah. And as we know, the people didn't really go into this area that much over there. So it's up to us. So we were forced to see the Torah through these type of eyes now, because the other one, it ain't working. This is the new Torah, is how to understand the Torah on this level. And we're forced into it. That's all I have to tell you right now. So get to work. Shabbat Shalom. Uvarach. Amen.